I'm going to show you what it looks like when one person reshapes a whole city. But it's not the mayor, it's not the president, it's actually the LeBron James of soccer, Lionel Messi. He has basically reshaped a lot of Miami, and we're going to get into the details. But long before he decided to join forces with Inter Miami, he had his eyes on this beautiful city. In 2019, he purchased a unit in Porsche Design Tower for $5 million. And then in 2021, he purchases a unit in Regalia, a full floor unit on the 9th floor for $7.3 million, showing us that he already had interest in Miami long before he fully connected or decided to join forces with Inter Miami. And this is also important because he was probably using that time to figure out if he actually really likes Miami, right? With his family. He was laying his roots down here. And probably after several visits and a lot of time spent here in Miami, he then realized that Miami was and is a place he wants to make his home base and a place that maybe he wants to retire in. And that's when he decided to join Inter Miami in 2023. But there's a little backstory with that. We have to take it way back to when David Beckham was playing soccer for the LA Galaxy. And in his contract, he had an option to exercise an expansion team within the MLS. And he was able to actually choose which city he wanted that team to play out of. And of course, he chose the best city in the United States, Miami, Florida. And he actually exercised that option in 2014. And then in 2020, Inter Miami played their first game. So from the time that the team was announced in 2014 to the time that they had the first game in 2020, a lot had to happen behind the scenes with big players in Miami. So David Beckham joined forces with Jorge and Jose Mas from Mastech, a very influential family and even company, engineering and construction company, to help build this incredible team and the future stadium. Now in 2022, there was a pivotal moment. We had here in Miami, Argentina using the Inter Miami facilities for their pre-World Cup training. And during that camp, Mas was on site every day, and he sits with Messi and asks him, "What are your aspirations? What do you want?" This is an actual quote that they say comes from Mas. And that may have just planted the seed, or maybe that may have started those negotiations and talks to bring Messi, this one influential person, down to Inter Miami to reshape not only the city of Miami, but reshape the entire MLS. And I think the idea for Messi, or the concept of moving down here to play in Miami, maybe it was an easier thought process, what I'm thinking, because he had already purchased 2 units here and he had already been visiting Miami. So coming down here, he was already familiar with the city, and maybe that made the move easier for him. And supposedly the Inter Miami, the MLS, everybody pulled out everything they possibly could to make it happen so that Messi would move down here, and reasonably so, because he would change the face of the city and obviously the league as well. Now, within weeks of signing the contract, Messi purchases a beautiful $10.75 million waterfront mansion in Fort Lauderdale in a gated community. That house has 10,500 square feet. It's on the water, 170 feet of water frontage. And this just shows he's planning his roots here for the long term. And interestingly, and I think maybe one of the reasons why he bought up there in Fort Lauderdale is because the stadium, the temporary stadium, was up in Fort Lauderdale as well, about 15 minutes from his house. So now that the new stadium just opened here in Miami, I'm sure maybe he will, or maybe other players will start purchasing residences here in Miami as well. Now, before we get into the details about how he's changed Miami, he has changed the team. I mean, Inter Miami had never been into a deep playoff run. He comes into the team, and last year they win the 2025 MLS Cup. That's incredible. And revenue for Inter Miami increased by 4x, with valuations of the MLS increasing by billions, because you look around anywhere, you'll see a Messi jersey somewhere. The stadium is constantly selling out. Season ticket holders, people are loving it. And it's not just here in Miami, it's around the world. And supposedly when Inter Miami goes to other stadiums, those other stadiums sell out because Messi's going. And all of this comes back to real estate somehow, because if you really think about this, how much attention is Messi, this one man, bringing to the city of Miami? The global attention, the global awareness of just the city has increased exponentially. I was in Thailand for my honeymoon, and when I said I live in Miami, people didn't know where I was or where I live. When I said I live where Messi plays soccer, they say, "Oh my gosh, do you know Messi?" No, I don't know Messi, but maybe one day. But that just shows the reach that one person has on a global audience, that now the city gets that reach as well. And when you have that many eyes on a city, we all know the more attention, the more eyes, the more people become aware of a city, the more they would like to be involved and invest in that city. And let me tell you something, Messi loved this city so much that he signed an extension through to 2028. And on top of that, he's under contract right now to purchase units at Cipriani residences to make Miami home sweet home. We're gonna have to change the name of the song to Sweet Home Miami, not Sweet Home Alabama. Now is where it starts to get a little interesting from the real estate perspective. They purchased the Mel Reese golf course, and that is now the site of their stadium, which is right next to Miami International Airport. But if you think about it, this team, if they didn't have all the attention and all the revenue coming in from this one person, they probably wouldn't be doing what they're doing now and building this massive stadium in the middle of Miami, right next to the airport. And now we have it. New stadium officially opened April 4th, 2026. And it seats 25,000 people. And there's actually a section named the Lionel Messi stand. We got to give tribute to the GOAT. And get this was entirely privately funded, no taxpayer dollars. The stadium is just the anchor for the site. You see, the full Miami Freedom Park covers 131 acres, including a 58-acre public park that's going to be named the Jorge Mas Park, a 750-room hotel, 1 million square feet of office space, retail village, tech hub, and community soccer fields. The total estimated cost for this project is $1 billion, and it's expected to generate $40 million in estimated tax revenue for this beautiful city. When people think of a stadium, they think of like just the game nights, right? But this location, this new corridor is 365 days a year, always going to be used. And that is what makes this special, because it's essentially a neighborhood, a new neighborhood. Having such a big stadium and shift in a local market actually does change the neighborhood surrounding it. And right next to where the stadium is a neighborhood called Grapeland Heights, which traditionally there you see homes that maybe around like $400,000, $500,000, you know, and a nice entry point into the market. But I think we'll start to see that will change over time as this neighborhood continues to evolve, because construction is still going on. They finished the stadium, but they haven't finished what's around it. So it'll be interesting to see how the markets change in the neighboring community I think now we're gonna start seeing maybe more new developments like townhomes, or maybe we'll start seeing more commercial spaces, but it will influence that direct market in the area. And I think this will happen in phases. You see, like phase 1 will likely be the commercial, office, retail, right? It really activates the district. And then phase 2 is residential, because in reality, the workforce will follow where they're working, right? And if they're working and that's bringing a lot of jobs to the area, people will want to be close to it. So that's going to impact the residential in the area. And then we have phase 3, which is as the neighborhood starts to solidify and mold into its own, then we'll start to see a luxury, seeping in. So I think right now we're in phase 1 and we're pretty early on. The stadium just finished, but again, that Miami Freedom Park, there's areas around it, all that acreage is still being developed as we speak. So as that continues to evolve, then we'll head into phase 2 and then into phase 3. But the Miami Freedom Park neighborhood that we see today is not going to be the same in 2 years, and it's not going to be the same in 5 years. It's going to be so different over this course of time, and it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. If you're watching this video in a few years, this will be interesting to keep an eye on. In the last year, we have a range of prices for the residential in Grapeland Heights. It ranges from $450,000 to a home that needs a lot of work, up to $780,000 for a fully renovated home. So it'll be interesting to see 5 years from now, what are these homes going to be selling for? Are they going to be selling around the same price ranges, or will they be significantly higher? Will we see renovations happening, or will we see more people tearing down and building townhomes or building new construction homes to sell over $1 million? Only time will tell, but this video is now a stamp in time. Nico doesn't like when I bang, but I'm gonna bang.
Not banging.
Now in this video, I'm not telling you to buy here because values will go up and shoot up super quick. No, on the contrary, right? Right now we're in phase 1. It's very early on. I think it's important to see how Miami Freedom Park develops and how the neighborhood develops. And then as we shift towards phase 2, then look into investing in the area. It's definitely something we wanna keep our eye on. We wanna keep our eye on the ball. And I think phase 2 will happen a lot faster because the city of Miami is invested in this Miami Freedom Park. What do I mean by that? Well, Miami City Hall is going to be moving to Miami Freedom Park from their historic site that was built in 1931 in Coconut Grove on the water. They've been there since 1954. And they're moving to the Miami Freedom Park. The new site is going to be an 8-story, 382,000 square foot government building, and groundbreaking was in January of 2025, and they're expected to complete in late 2027 or early 2028. Now, what is this signal for real estate? I mean, we're talking about government relocation into a new neighborhood. It's not just sports, it's not just hospitality. We're talking about a seat at the government right there in the middle of a new neighborhood. That changes a neighborhood forever, forever. You see, a government building doesn't really move often, but when it does, it should directly influence and change the neighborhood that's around it. Now, here's what Noah's talking about, and that actually I find super interesting. What are they going to do with Miami City Hall? The old one, rather. What are they doing with that building? Are they going to tear it down? Are they going to keep the building as it is and repurpose it? You're going to rezone and build a high rise? And what are they going to do with it? It's prime real estate at the tip of the water on the bay. I mean, we're talking about probably one of the most expensive pieces of real estate in Miami. Is it going to be sold or repurposed? Now, we've seen this happen before. Bayside was repurposed. Regatta Harbor was repurposed. The American Airlines Arena, all of these were former government, properties that have now been repurposed. Will the same thing happen here? I want to hear your thoughts. Comment down below what you think will be done on the former site, or a current but former site of Miami City Hall. Amazing location. We're very curious to see the future of that location. If you're watching this and you're thinking about where Miami is headed in the next 2 to 5 years, I think the answer is simple. You mix Messi, who's reshaped the city because of his move down here and because of the team. And then you have all the billionaires, which we've talked about in other videos as well. There's so many things happening here in Miami and changes that are happening for the benefit. So the future of Miami looks extremely bright. And that's why we have a lot of people that are investing in Miami now, and we have people reaching out to us every day about this. So if you're looking to make your first investment in Miami, we would love to be your go-to resource. I know more about real estate than I do soccer. I can tell you that for a fact. But what I do know about soccer is that Messi is the GOAT, and he's really helped change Miami and better Miami. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you want to see more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.